Hello everyone, Floppy Waffle 69 here, and for today's video, I am going to go over a replay I had in the Tier 5 Royal Navy Light Cruiser, the Emerald. Wow, the Emerald, yikes. Interesting little boat. Tier 5 cruiser. Tier 5 cruisers are notorious for exploding. Looking at you, Omaha. But the Emerald is no exception to that, given the fact that the Emerald, I think, is pretty notorious for doing the same thing. Yeah. I think it's safe to say that any and every Tier 5 cruiser pretty much blows up. The only one that I relatively see a hard time blowing up are, well, the two at least, that, at least in my opinion, are the Exeter and the Furataka. Just with the heal and the improved armor scheme on the Furataka and the heal on the Exeter, excuse me. So yeah, but enough about that. We're looking at the Emerald here. So the Emerald, when I first started this game, 7, 8 years ago, whatever it was, and the Emerald was in the game probably like 7 years ago, something like that. Yeah, this ship was a sore spot for sure. I think she has received some buffs and changes, relatively small ones, throughout the years. Not much though, because Wargaming doesn't really seem to touch low tiers again, which is sad because this is half the game that is just here. But yeah, she's gone through a couple changes, and I do think now she still takes a decent amount of I don't want to say skill, because I mean it is a smoke cruiser, so you could theoretically just pop your smoke and farm. Like let's just use that to an advantage. But I guess there is more skill involved with this smoke cruiser because she has the short fused AP. So you're gonna have to pick your spots and targets more, I guess, wisely to say, just because you can't just sit there and left click on a ship coming bow into you and set fires and do damage that way. It's going to be a little bit more reliant on where your aim goes. And I don't think the Emerald has all single mounted guns, which I believe are 152s. Her dispersion seems to be a little wonky or whatnot. So, but yeah. Anyways, I digress, and we're going to talk more about the game here. The Emerald now, in my opinion, is actually a pretty strong cruiser. I don't know if that's public opinion on across the player base, the ones that do play this tier. I think relatively people would think this is kind of a shit boat, but I do find her incredibly strong against enemy cruisers. But you have to also realize that your Citadel is extremely vulnerable to like ships like the Ohotnik over here with those 130s. They'll just pound right into your Citadel. Your plating is horrendous. Which is kind of funny because it goes all the way up to the line to the Minotaur, right? So, but no, I do enjoy her. I know one of my friends that played the ship back in the day. I told him, "Oh, be ready. You're finding your way out of the Danye and you're going to the Emerald. Like, be ready, bro. This is a tough ship." And I think in his first 3 games, the guy averaged like 3 kills a game, and was doing pretty damn good, right? So I was pretty flabbergasted myself. So I repurchased the ship and I played her, and I was like, "Holy shit!" The torpedo potential on the ship, I think, has 2 quad launchers that go 7 kilometers. I mean, and you can single launch them, catch a lot of ships off guard. And the Emerald is at its strongest, in my opinion, when ships push into it. Therefore, it could just smoke up and farm and single launch its torpedoes. So, but you usually don't see players playing it the most, I guess, logically. They kind of are just, sailing broadside, trying to open water, and they just get absolutely dev struck, which is definitely easy to do, to say the least. This ship, I think, next to the Omaha, might be the easiest ship to blow up. If you think there's a ship easier to blow up between the Omaha and the Emerald, just let me know, because there is a lot of them. But yeah, I always see this ship. This ship doesn't last very long at low tier. I think it's always one of the first ships to die. But with that being said, that is usually because players are learning the game. So I don't think there's kind of a false sense of what the ship can do, per se, just because players are learning the game. At tier 5, I think it takes like what, maybe two days to get to tier 5, 3 days, something like that, depending on how much you play. So, but yeah, this ship can be and will be fun, especially the more knowledgeable and the better you get at the game. This ship can definitely hold its own. And we'll definitely dish out the pain, that's for sure, with these single launch torpedoes. And it's so agile too. Like, I've noticed that with its turning circle radius and rudder shift time, it just feels very agile. And of course, it gets the improved engine parameters that we see on all Royal Navy light cruisers going up to tier 10. So, but yeah, I mean, this thing in my opinion, I think it is a diamond in the rough. I really do. Again, which is kind of funny. It's the emerald. A little pun there. But yeah, like the Emerald is a great ship, and I think she is just a combination of a bunch of tools that you can use at your disposal to dispose of the enemy. People that write her off are usually players that don't specialize in cruisers, are strictly battleship mains, or players that happen to go down this line as their first tech tree line and play her, and it's like this thing explodes, this thing sucks. I think she is there's definitely a skill level here with her, and it all depends on the captain playing her. So but yeah, I don't want to defend like sitting in smoke and spamming. Like we all know, like that's not too incredibly hard, let's be honest. um, but with the AP, with short fused AP ability, rather than just high explosive, yeah, it definitely makes things a little bit more tricky. So but yeah, this is a game I had in the Emerald with my div mate here. As you can see, him sailing so elegantly in front of me. Um, that I just had to show. I was like, dude, like I can't remember the last time I had an Emerald game that was good. And yes, I know there's bots. I don't think other than that paddle ship that I, single launched 4 torpedoes or 5 torpedoes in, was a game good. I didn't really have to deal with too much of the bots this game, even though some of the plays that the enemy players did, there's an argument to be made there about that statement. So, but yeah, I would definitely recommend giving her another look at her, or another look, especially if you sold her in the past or like the ship is terrible. I'd re-get her and see what you can do in her. I mean, I think she is like, she could really dish out the damage. Now, that being said, okay, there's a caveat here. If you can find yourself up in a tier 7 game, I mean, yikes, right? I mean, we all can agree with that. That is a big, big yikes. Given the fact that her main battery firing range is what is her main battery firing range? I don't even know, but it's like 13 kilometers, something like that. I can't even remember. 13.6 kilometers is her main battery firing range. So, again, that's not the best, but you have the smoke screen, so it kind of like compensates a little bit. So, but yeah, the lack of HE shells definitely is not necessarily friendly towards new players in that regard about doing consistent damage. But it is, I guess, friendly in the essence that you don't have to realize, oh, what shell do I use in which situation, because you just have one. So, you know what I mean? There are like trade-offs. Of course, I think HE is definitely the superior ammunition. Like that's, you're probably going to do more consistent damage over time with HE, and the likelihood of setting fires than you would be doing AP only and having to pick specific parts of the ship to shoot at. Not to mention you have to deal with ricochets and shatters as well. So, but yeah, the Emerald. I mean, again, I think we're already up to 98,000 damage. We got a double strike, which I didn't hear my commander say it. I guess there was just too many things going off at once. I guess it happens. We've already locked down the Kraken, and we got the high caliber as well. Going back to that Ohotnik though, again with the short fused AP, this thing definitely just shreds enemy destroyers, and I'm sure you know that by now. The way the short fuse works, making sure that there's less armor that needs to be penetrated before the shell detonates and does that full damage to get full pens. Yeah, the Minotaur line is you will just eviscerate enemy destroyers, and again, it just gets better and better the more tiers, the higher the tiers you go up. And the prime example to me is the Fiji. I mean, there is in this line there are so many gems, which calling the gem, again, no pun intended with the Emerald. To me, this is a gem now because of the how far I've progressed in the game and the knowledge of my game has grown. I find this ship to be incredibly strong. The Leander has gone through some nerfs, but even then it was already insanely strong. And the Leander now is freaking awesome. Love the Leander. What a good ship that is. And then, oh my god, the tier 7 Fiji. What a sweet spot that is. I mean, everyone loves the Fiji. If you don't love the Fiji, then I just don't know if you like cruisers in general, because that thing is everything you really want in a cruiser, in my opinion at least. The Edinburgh, I can see where that kind of gets a little iffy, just because the hull's longer. You have that a bigger citadel. I don't know if you have access to the step citadel, if that's in the Neptune. But yeah, the Edinburgh, I can definitely see that a lot of players, don't really like that one. And then a lot of players despise the Neptune, and I'll be like honest with you guys here. I am definitely part of the Neptune fan club. I think the Neptune is insanely strong, and I freaking love the Neptune. I do think the Neptune needs some changes with its smoke firing penalty on a side note there, but I digress. And then obviously the Minotaur. I mean, God, what a blast of a ship. Especially the radar versions of those vessels are chef's kiss. So, but yeah, just continuing to blabber on about the Emerald and what she can do and the capabilities of her. Obviously, AA is on a strong point, but when you're going against a Tier 4 aircraft carrier, I mean, I don't think there's, especially as a Tier 5 cruiser, there's not really a bad cruiser when it comes to AA against them, honestly. I mean, yeah, she doesn't get slotted to the defensive AA bonus, or perk or consumables, excuse me. But I mean, she can still shoot down a couple here and there just because the Tier 4 aircraft are slow and they don't really drop as much armaments and whatnot. So definitely is a contender when it comes to that. But her speed, her agility, her concealment are all great. I believe her, if I'm looking through her statistics, I don't know if I have them in front of me here. But yeah, her max speed 33 knots with, I mean, going on her base rudder shift, which is 7.8, and her turning circle rate is 730. I mean, not terrible at all, right, guys? That's definitely awesome. And her base detection at sea is 9.87. Like, that's insane. So you can get her down to like what, 8.9, 9 kilometers, something like that. Yeah, she is a awesome ship. But you go to like Tomatoes GG for the wows or whatever, and you can see that like her overall win rate on the server for NA or whatnot is, let me see here, it's 50.19. Like, that's well above, well, not well above, excuse me. It's right at 50%. And her win rate differential is 0.72%, which is freaking, pretty not that bad. I think the best one at this tier is the Rattlehead, which is like an exclusive Omaha that did with Megadeth collaboration, which is like 61.89% win rate average, and then it's like a 10.15% win rate differential, and that's just because of the exclusivity of that ship. Like, no one really got it. It's like, why the fuck would I want to buy a premium Omaha? Like, of all the ships, Megadeth could have like said, yeah, I want to do collaboration and give us a sick camel scheme with the ship or whatever. Like, they put it in Omaha. Like, come on. Like, you should have informed them a little bit more. Maybe that was a wargaming thing. Like, yeah, like, we really want to sell a premium Omaha. Like, come on now. Like, that could have done something cooler than that at least. But I do appreciate the low tier kind of content, since we really don't get that nowadays. But launching a like 0 spread single launch torpedo salvo into the oncoming Langley. So you already know what that means. I mean, I really didn't need to launch the other set, but in case he made a maneuver. But then again, I don't think a lot of carrier players are touching their keyboards at this low tier, just because they're more focused on the aircraft. It's exciting, I get it. But yeah, we're gonna rip around here and launch our other torpedoes just in case as a safety measure here. But yeah, the Langley is going to explode in a glorious fashion here thanks to the single launch torpedoes. And we do the honking of the horn to signal our war cry there. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up here, boys, for the Emerald. Getting, what is that, 6 kills, I think? Something like that. Not really 100% sure, but yeah, I thought I'd share this awesome gameplay, guys, to you. This gameplay of the Emerald here. So blast of a boat, had a blast game. So I'm definitely going to be playing her a lot more. 3 devastating strikes. That's hilarious. So anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time. Peace out.